Hi, we're sisters Brenda and Elaine.
Welcome to the Body Wealth Podcast, a space for conversations about the wealth that really matters.
Your best health.
I know our listeners are going to love today's conversation with Yolanda. She is a vibrant 77-year-old woman who has been single her entire life.
So let's hear how she's built a life filled with joy and love.
Welcome, Yolanda. We're so excited to talk to you today. How are you doing, first of all?
I'm doing well, thank you, and hope you
Yeah.
guys are too.
Thank you. We are. Before we get started, would you please take a minute to tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I'm Yolanda Ford, a native of Durham, North Carolina, but I have lived a couple of other places, Charlotte, Newark, New Jersey, and Atlanta. And my career, I was a special ed teacher.
Would you be willing to share your age?
Oh, absolutely. I have no problem. I'm 77, going,
All right, looking fantastic.
well, I
So,
feel
Yeah, well, I
fine.
hope.
okay, so if you're 77, I'm just doing some math. So you've been an adult, let's say, for over 50 years, right? And you've been single for all of that time. Did you ever consider marriage, and what went into your decision to remain single?
Well, a lot of things went into the decision to remain single. Um, let's see. Yes, certainly I did consider marriage forever, for the longest. Like, surely I'm going to get married someday. Um, but I was close a couple of times and it didn't work out. And so, yeah, I have been single all these years, like you say, 50 some years. Seemed like I had more boyfriends before the 50 some years, though.
So it was the expectation when you were younger that you would one day be married. So how did you actually what kind of came to terms with the idea that, I'm probably not going to have a life partner? Um,
It came, I was thinking about that. And let's see, just through the years, with some disappointments, some hurts, and so forth. But probably the older I was getting, realizing, I'm really been doing this by myself. Now,
hmm.
nothing really takes the place of a man and intimacy and that kind of thing. So I do know that still exists, and but that's in a little box somewhere. Okay. Since it didn't
Hmm.
happen, and I have a lot of girlfriends who are single. Some of my closest friends, you will not believe, have never been married as well, and my age.
Hmm.
So we always talk and talk, and in our 40s, in our 50s, we were saying, we don't believe this. I mean, what in the world? And then finally, probably in my 60s or so, I finally said, what the heck? If it happens, it happens. Stop worrying about it. In my 70s, I went, no, because, sickness starts happening. It'd be great to have a companion, but marriage, don't even worry about that.
Mhm, mhm.
I'm like, I got this figured out and I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah.
So why would I want to mess this up?
Mhm.
And there's still moments, and sometimes different things come up, and you're like, oh my goodness, But I'm one of these that what it is what it is.
Can you tell us some of the things that, you know, have made your life such a wonderful one?
I think my career was really good. I had to concentrate on kids and teaching them and loving them. And then my family, when I moved back to Durham, I spent a lot of time with my mom and family. I traveled. I'm in all kind of organizations, and they're all women. And I
Hmm.
swore, I said, if I don't get into another organization where there's some men, like a ski club. But then I'm scared to death. Ain't no way I'm going skiing. But anyway, in church, I'm still at the same church that I was born in, really. And
Mhm.
so that my faith and so forth and trusting God has really kept me going.
You have a very full life, I know. So do you ever feel like you were missing out on anything by not having.
Yeah, to be honest, there are times when I need somebody in here at night. Like I took myself to the emergency one night because they didn't want to call any friends. And I'm like, Lord, if I had a
Mhm.
husband, maybe he could at least take me. If he was here, so many husbands
Yeah,
not even home.
right.
So there are times, and and I was really thinking that I used to tell people that the only time I really wanted a husband was on snow days and when it snowed. And now that we don't have snow, I'm really okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes our girlfriends can, support us in ways that spouses might, like taking you to the emergency room, or
Mhm.
are there ways that you and your girlfriends rely on each other?
For sure. And I have some girlfriends that if I really have to go somewhere or emergencies pop up, and then my sister and family. I have a
Mhm,
brother
mhm,
and 2 nieces here and some close cousins, but it still are moments when it would be nice if somebody was in here and really knew what was really happening, and so forth.
mhm.
But yeah, and then if he was a good person for maintenance in this house, that would be wonderful too. With so
Right.
many men on.
There's the key right there, though. I think a lot of people would like to have someone in their house and
Right.
be a partner with them, but you gotta find a good person because having the wrong person is worse than not having anyone at all, for sure.
Absolutely, and the one I almost married was gonna be bad. Yeah, that was gonna
Mhm.
be a bad situation. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you didn't get in that bad situation, because it's
Mhm.
good to have the autonomy, to have the control of your life, and to be and you've made a happy life. I wonder, did you ever think about having children even with or without a husband?
Now, yes, I never really wanted to have a kid out of at wedlock. I
Okay.
have a couple of friends who had, and they never married, and they have children now that are grown and all that. I just made that decision. I really didn't want to do that. At one point, I thought about foster care, and then I went to school one day and I said, "Oh no, no, you don't really want to do that either."
Right.
Never thought about adopting. Here again, I say, "Oh my goodness, what's going to happen to me if I need somebody to take care of me?" Well, I also know that doesn't always work either with kids helping you and taking care of you. So I have missed, but I have been close to my nieces and some godchildren. And I've loved kids, but it's fine that they can go home. Yeah, after
Yeah.
they're here.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's how I feel about the empty nest, because everyone's like,
Oh,
"Oh, your children are gone," and I miss them, and I love them, and I love when
mhm.
they come home, but I'm kind of enjoying.
But it's okay. And two, I've also realized that you can't miss what you haven't had. But I do think about that it would be great to have a great kid or
Right.
children who I know would really be caring for me and helping me and that type of thing. So yeah.
One of the things that
Mhm.
I hope is that more, especially young Black women, embrace the single lifestyle. I hate seeing a young woman who's like, "Oh, I gotta find a man, I gotta find a man,
Mhm.
I gotta
Mhm.
find a man."
I have looked at the statistics and, we are really moving to a place where being in a marriage relationship, especially for Black people, is becoming more and more rare.
Mhm.
It is not as common as it used to be, and I think, men and women, but more for women, are gonna have to figure out ways to be happy in their life without necessarily having a life partner because that's the way things are moving.
I saw something like that. And see, the other thing is I want people and young women to really embrace the idea that you just don't try to just keep making a relationship. If it doesn't exist, if it's not there, I saw something that just said, if it should be a relationship should be comfortable or calming or something and not confusion. But if it doesn't happen, I feel like the Lord lifted me out of that bad relationship. And I probably have, some scars, not physical scars, but mental scars and so forth
Mhm.
from that. And so then you go on and keep going and going. And next thing you know, you're 70 some years old. Like, what happened? Where? And my friends and I, we don't talk anymore. Like, girl, what's wrong with us? You go through a
Mm-mm.
period of, poor self concept. What's wrong with me? I know I ain't ugly. I don't stink, all of that. So, yeah, you go through all that.
Yeah,
And then you finally come to your self worth. And
Good.
what's important is your health and trying to live right and just enjoy life. Yeah. You finally
right.
have to come to that. Yeah.
Yeah, was it hard to though?
It was up
Mhm.
to the point when my mom was living because she wanted me to be married so bad.
Oh, was she harassing you? Like,
Well,
when are you gonna
no,
find
but
a
she
man?
would try to come up with people to meet. He looks, he ain't all that great looking, but you always so picky and so this and that. Yeah, she really would have loved because she knew, as an older woman, that you should be married.
I think that generation, that was the standard, and that's really all they knew. They you felt like a man was gonna protect you and take care of you, and we've learned that we can do all that ourselves, really.
And can you tell us a little bit about your parents' marriage? Because that was, like, the first model of marriage I imagine that
Ugh,
you saw.
ugh. That may have something else to do with it as well. My father was an epileptic, and so he would have the seizures any old
Mm,
time and stuff, and mostly at night. And he worked. My parents we were all together as a family until my senior year in college. And it was always a strain. My mom was the really, really breadwinner, the decision maker, because he had had aneurysm,
mm,
and it took away a lot of the type of person that he was before that.
Mm,
And so there was a lot of discord, and so forth. But I didn't really see the love like I know some couples. And then I had an aunt and an uncle that I could really finally see this is how marriage is, I could see
mhm,
the love between them, the communication. But not really with my parents because I think his sickness and
mm.
my mom having to be really the leader, it just was kind of rough.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
I see. Mm.
Do you have married friends that you spend a lot of time with too?
No, I would spend more time with you if you stay in town.
She travels too much. She
I
does.
know,
She
too
tra
much. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Believe it or not, my whole little group, they're all single. Was that
Mm,
does that
Yeah, I
make
think about it because I have a friend here. One thing that she did express to me one time is that she felt like, if you're single, and I don't know if this only applies to women or both men and women, that, a lot of times you're excluded from a lot of the social activities that people do. I don't know if you feel that's true.
No, my friend, gosh, in fact, no, I have a
Oh, good.
camaraderie of friends that we meet here. In fact, Saturday we all went to lunch, and I declare it was only one that was married. That was her birthday, and he wasn't there. But most of my friends are either divorced, a widow, or single. Some of them have been
Mm.
single. But I can say this that socially, I don't go to dances. Like the Q's just had a Mardi Gras and
Oh, yeah.
couples and stuff like that. No, I don't sit around no table with a bunch of women and want somebody to dance. But my other social events like luncheons, dinners, whatever. I'll go to that stuff like that.
Were dances just not fun to you?
No, I just it doesn't look good to me. It doesn't feel good. Yeah,
Okay,
it
okay.
That's funny also, it's like, I just remember this old-timey thing where if and I don't know where I maybe from movies or something, if there was a single woman around, all the married women would think of that single woman was after their man.
They must be insecure in their marriage.
right, but yeah, I can see that kind of though.
Mm,
And that's
mhm.
another reason
Yeah.
too. I don't really have. It just so happens that hardly any of my girlfriends are married that I would hang around their house or this or that. No, I haven't had that in years.
Mhm.
We talked a little bit about your self-image
Mhm,
over the years. I know when you were younger, you were expecting to get married, you
mhm,
went through that, "Why is this not happening for me?" And then you got to the point where you were accepting, but do you think that, there was some emotional or mental or even physical manifestations of struggle for you over the years?
mhm. I don't think any of the mental, emotional affected my physical being like, oh, I started having
Mhm.
headaches or I stayed sick all the time, or I don't think there was any manifestations like that. I do know that I mentally went back and forth. Yeah.
Mhm.
Health wise and like I said, meditating and still being with my faith and church and staying active like that, all of that really helped.
Did you ever seek therapy from a
Did
psychiatrist or any kind
I?
of
No, I
doctor?
haven't.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
used to
No.
think about it in terms of I wondered did my dad's sickness kind of have a wall up, which I do still feel like that I had kind of a
Mhm.
wall of like, oh gosh, I don't want to have to go through that, or a man can get sick on me, and da 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 da.
Mhm.
And I used to think, but then I was my own therapist and figured that out. So yeah,
Well, I was just gonna say, we pulled the data, and in 2019, almost 70% of Black women were single. And
really
so what I'm hoping is that they can be inspired by you to maybe get to the point of embracing a single life sooner. What advice would you give such a woman?
try not to be so aggressive and just settle for anything. If you know it's not right, just try to get out of it, really, because I've been in a place where I knew it wasn't right, and I'm like,
Mhm.
"Lord, get me out of this." So, try to definitely stay away from and you get red flags so much, and you get them
Mhm.
early too,
Yep.
but we love to ignore 'em. I know, we love to ignore them, but pay attention to the red flags along the way, because they usually show up pretty early.
Yeah.
Um, and then once you know that a relationship doesn't work out that you probably thought it was going to, just try to stay busy and stay in your faith and trust that I'm going to be all right. And
Yeah.
um, and then the next thing you know, you're 60 some, you're 70 some, and you just say, hey, whatever. It didn't
But if you've done that, if you've lived your life along the way and not been in a waiting mode, then whatever point you get to, you have had a great life because that's what you're doing all along.
all after my mom died, I thought, "Oh my goodness." But Amani came along, my niece, I mean, actually cousin,
Mhm.
and I needed to be her caregiver till she was 18
Mhm.
years old because her mama traveled. I never thought that I would, have to be taking her to school, doing this and that, and keeping her alive. So I do feel like the door's open for you. And then after a while, it's like, Lord, just let me stay healthy. Let
Mhm.
me do so, and I know this is about wellness and health, but it's really, really now about my health. And as many doctor appointments as I have, I don't really have time for no man.
What do you do to stay healthy?
Well, okay. Right now, I try to eat right, but it just my metabolism is so low. I pretty much
Mm.
try to cut out carbs when I can. Um, I'm finally really drinking water because everything now is saying get water down, get water down. So I
Mhm.
do believe in that. I have joined the gym. I go to Fuel Fitness up near Roses. I should have gone to the my senior class this morning, but I didn't. Yeah, I do go to a senior class on Tuesdays and Fridays. It's 45 minutes. I like that. I'm still in PT with strengthening my muscles, my glutes and that type of thing. And I don't really walk, but occasionally here I love to dance. So
Oh,
I put on some music and just kind of dance, do some little routines. So I don't smoke and I don't, all any of that stuff. So that's my health.
And that's key. I mean, you know what you're supposed to do, and you do your best to do it
Exactly.
when you can.
But I do need to spiff up my activity more. I really do. And I know this. And I want
mhm.
to also and my doctor, she says walk more
Do you have any hobbies? Like garden or
outside. No, 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 no,
no?
no.
Oh, you don't like the outside?
No, 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 no. I don't care. Mosquitoes and things. Mm-mm.
It's funny because I have allergies and asthma, but I love gardening, and so I was just doing, like, some garden cleanup, this week, and I broke out in a rash, and I started wheezing, and my husband was like, "You were the last person who should be gardening." But
Exactly.
I love it so much, I can't help myself. I just take a Benadryl, take a shower, and keep
And just,
going.
oh my goodness.
So what are the things that bring you joy then? At this point in your life, what would you say are the things that bring you joy?
Uh, that's a good question. Sometimes I think, am I doing things just out of habit or routine, or is it joy? I do know theater is joy. I do know that.
Mhm.
Um, because I'm just in a whole new element when I'm at theater and concerts.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I try to go to them a lot. So my joy is really kind of being here too in my chair. That's a recliner and just thinking and meditating and saying, Lord, thank you.
Mm.
Church is such a part of me and doing things there and yeah, so yeah.
I think there's benefits to every
Hmm.
situation and, you find them. I think I got married fairly young. I didn't really have that time where I really got to figure out what it
Hmm.
is that I love and
Hmm.
actually, you know, s spend some time pursuing that, as everything, there's pros and cons to every
Exactly. And
situation there.
this morning, I did the pros and the cons. I'm just thinking about this. And one is the freedom to do what I want to do, when I
Right,
want to do it, how I want to do it, so forth. Now, the other part is all the responsibilities and everything is on me. All
right,
the
right.
decisions. When I bought this house was I had to make the decision. I had to come up with all the money too. So all the bills, all the everything that comes up, at least I know what to expect and what is going to get done too. And I
Right,
guess I used to hear my mom always say she thought my dad was paying that bill. And it come to
right.
find out it didn't get paid or this and that.
Right.
No, I know exactly. If I didn't pay Spectrum, I
It's
know
not
it's not
paid.
paid.
It's 2
So
sides of
Right.
the
So
same coin, yeah.
right, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So it's
right.
some pros and
Uh-huh.
cons.
Would you ever consider living with someone?
I have done that. Lord, I
Because
better
that's
be
another way
careful.
to
Who's gonna listen to
no,
this?
I'm not talking about men necessarily. I'm just saying
Just
that
another
just
person,
another
whatever the
I
person
have
that
had
has
situation.
some.
roommates forever. When I
Mhm.
was in college in Newark and Atlanta, and then in Durham, one of my cousins that came from California stayed with me almost 2 years. Lord have mercy.
Then you appreciate being alone, right?
Yeah, right, right, right. They don't
Vision.
stay too long. That's the good part.
Right, because then you want your house to yourself again. I have this vision of a house for me and Elaine and our husbands where it's got 2 wings, and there's the curry wing and there's the Barbara Palmer wing. So we each have our own little private space, but then we have a big kitchen and great room in the middle. So
Okay.
Elaine and I can be like cooking dinner together and doing all this stuff. So we have each other as we age, but then we can still go to our apartments when we're getting on each
Okay.
other's nerves.
Well, that sounds
And then
good.
there's another room where the husbands can't go at all.
Right. Okay.
That's the sister's room. That's the body wealth room.
And
Is there anything else that you would like to add?
oh, I know one thing that I have not touched on, and it was about through the years not wanting to be too set in my ways, trying to make
Mm.
sure that I stayed flexible enough
Um,
so that if I'm dating or somebody really does come along, that I won't be so particular. But I still want to be flexible and try to keep an open mind and this is that. But that has been a main thing for a main mantra through the years. Try to not be so set in your ways that nobody would even want to be around you anyway.
Mm.
and
Flex.
that's true. The longer that you are doing something, the more you get just and it's easy and that's what you want. So to
Exactly.
disrupt that, it gets harder and harder.
Yeah,
So,
but trying to stay aware of it, and certainly, by now I've certainly got my peculiarities and this and that, but and I know it, but at least I still try to be, more open. And
if you met somebody who was wonderful, you fell in love, and they checked all your boxes, would you consider getting married?
okay, probably not necessarily married, just appreciating the companionship and the attention from a man at this point, but not necessarily married. Married, not at this point.
Mm,
You like your life. You
yeah.
like your life.
Yeah,
That's
I
great.
really do. I like it's fine being here like this. And at 77, I don't particularly feel like I would enjoy day to day here all the time. Really, a companionship would be great. Companionship, someone that I know really cared about me or liked me a lot, or we just spent time together, would seem like, as far as I can tell now, would be fine. Because look, I
Yeah.
guess. But who knows? I'm also somebody that never know. You never say never either, but
Right.
just,
Exactly. And
really.
thank you.
Mhm.
We're so excited that to have this conversation. Who or what inspires you to work towards your best health?
Okay. Who inspires me? First of all, me, myself.
Good
I
answer.
realize that it's just me, basically. And if I don't
Mhm.
do things, nobody else is going to do them. I know to get up and go to the gym, it's all on me. Eating the right thing is all on me. So I'm inspired by myself, first of all.
What are you going to do for your health tomorrow?
Okay, tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday, and I go to my job. That's one really good health thing that I get up and go to the job about 12 o'clock.
Mhm.
I will try my best to eat at least something before I go. And then usually I eat a salad there. So, and take my water bottle and do actually, while I'm there, drink lots of water and do not eat the chips and the chocolate and all those little snacks while I'm there. Try to not do that. And maybe tomorrow afternoon, once I get home, probably try to do a little dance routine with some music. That would be wonderful.
Where do you get your dance routines?
Oh, I just make them up.
Oh,
I
cool.
play all my old records that are good, like Earth, Wind and Fire, Maze, old Jackie Wilson. Yeah, I just do my own little routine.
It was so wonderful to talk to Yolanda. She has such a bright personality, and the lessons that she had for us were numerous. I love the fact that she really appreciated today the beauty of her own life and the autonomy that she had, the fact that she could make her own decisions and do what she wanted to do when she wanted to do it. She recognized that there were some things she's missed, but she also appreciated the things that she got from her own situation.
That's my takeaway, is that any life situation has its pros and cons. And the key is to maintain your standards, right? Like, don't lower your standards just to be married, and to keep living.
Right. And so she did that, and it was beautiful that she was able to share the experience of being a single adult woman with friends. And I think that probably helps. Friends who all maybe expected at one point in their life that they would be married, but as the circumstances came to pass, they didn't end there. But they were there for each other, they supported each other, and it made for a beautiful life.
Yes, I think that's the real lesson from this conversation with Yolanda, is that a joy-filled, love-filled life does not require a romantic partner.
Thanks for listening. We hope this episode inspires you to increase your body wealth. If you like our show, please subscribe and tell a friend. For resources related to this topic, please see the show notes. And be sure to follow us on Instagram at Body Wealth Sisters.
The Body Wealth Podcast shares personal stories to inspire you. It does not constitute medical advice. For that, we encourage you to work with a trusted healthcare provider. We also want to remind you that the views expressed by our guests are their own. This podcast is dedicated to our mother, Jean Fernandez Barbour, who showed us what advocating for yourself really looks like.